Hey guys, Nick here, and today we're going to be making a gingerbread mead. So, just to start off, a little bit of history about mead. It's actually one of the oldest beverages in the world, dating back several thousand years. The rumor is that people saw some bears kind of acting drunk, and they noticed that they were drinking out of a puddle that had a beehive had fallen into, and some wild yeast was there, and mead was just created naturally. And then people started drinking it, and in modern culture, it's kind of been popularized by the Nordic people, Vikings, and it's kind of starting to make a comeback. So we're going to show you today how to make the gingerbread mead. Gingerbread was created in ancient Egypt, popularized in Nuremberg, Germany as a Christmas dessert in the 1600s, and enjoyed today. So, Christmas season, I think it's a great need to make. You probably want to age it a little bit, so it may not be good until next Christmas, or just a nice spring or summer kind of dessert mead. Um, Maybe if you make it when this video first comes out, you'll be able to drink it at Christmas, though it may not be at its best. So try that with caution. We're going to start off making a base mead. So it's just going to be honey, some yeast, and water, and we'll let that ferment for a couple of weeks. We'll come back, we'll stabilize it, and then we will add our gingerbread ingredients. So to start off here, I'm just going to kick it off. I have got some EC1118 yeast. It's been rehydrated, so this specific yeast, I put it in some water at 95 to 98 degrees. So that's it for 15 minutes and stir it. And put that in our mead, in our must once we have the honey and water kind of all mixed together. It's relatively simple. It's one of the easier drinks we can make. It's made in nature, you know. So let's get this started. We'll start with a little bit of honey, and I've got a little water refilled here. We're going to go up to a gallon with that ferment and add our ingredients on top of that. You can buy these carboys on Amazon for very cheap. I will provide Amazon links to all of the equipment in the description. It'll be easy for you to purchase to start your own. But if you don't want to purchase your own equipment, you could just buy a gallon of water, use that. Maybe a balloon as an airlock. Um, do what you want with it. So let's get started. Now, keep in mind, I bought this honey at Sam's Club. You can really buy it wherever you get honey. A local farmer's market would be great if it's summertime and you can do that. But this works great too. Okay, now we have a fully mixed solution. A little less than a gallon, 2.5 pounds of honey, however you want to get that. A little less than a gallon of water. Thoroughly mix it so that it fully dissolves. And now we're going to pitch our yeast. Again, I said this was rehydrated. You don't have to, you could just sprinkle it in, but this is going to tend to work a little bit better. You can use the EC1118, or I will link a few other options in the description where you can do your own research and see which different yeasts might work better for this. I just happen to have this one on hand, so that's what I'm using. Again, mead's very flexible, so that's the benefit of this. Let's pitch our yeast. Okay, so now that our yeast is in there, I'm going to put on the airlock and leave it for a little bit. I am going to add some ferment, either ferment K or ferment O, every other day for the first, for 3 times. And then we will let it ferment and add our gingerbread ingredients shortly. All right, so our mead's been sitting for 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the yeast. It could be longer, it could be shorter for your fermentation to finish up. So make sure to do a little research on the specific yeast that you use. But for the 1118, generally I find 2 to 3 weeks works well. This has been sitting for about 2.5 weeks. So we're going to start with some stabilization with a little bit of potassium metabisulfite here. You can also use what's called a Camden tablet, same thing. We're just going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of that. And what that's going to do is start to kill off the yeast and make sure that our gingerbread ingredients aren't fermented out further. And it's going to keep the taste a little bit sweeter and more pure. So let's start with our 1/4 teaspoon. And we're going to let that sit for 24 hours and we'll come back to it. All right, so it's been about a day and we're going to add some potassium sorbate to our mead. That's going to completely wrap up the job of killing off this yeast. And from there, you could either start adding your ingredients right away, and maybe give it a day. You could also rack it to another fermentation vessel. That's probably the best idea. Either way, you're just going to want to make sure that you stabilize your mead because we're going to add some sugary compounds and you don't want those to ferment out. You want to get that full flavor. So we're just going to add half of a teaspoon here of potassium sorbate, and I'm going to give it some time and we'll come right back. All right, so now that we have a stabilized mead, we're going to throw in our gingerbread ingredients. So we have here 1 cinnamon stick, a vanilla bean that I have sort of split, a couple of whole cloves, a dash of nutmeg, and let's see how to do this somewhat carefully. And finally, a little bit of molasses. Give it a tablespoon or 2. I'm just going to estimate here. Similar to pouring honey. That's the big reason why we needed to stabilize this, because we don't want the sugar and the molasses to ferment out. Not a bad practice to stabilize mead anyway, but especially when we're adding more sugars. So now we've got our ingredients. I'm just going to give it a little swirl around, make sure they're all mixed, and then we're going to let that sit for another 2-3 weeks, and then we'll bottle it. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe. If you didn't, subscribe too, because I'll get better at this. I'll make some follow-up videos as far as bottling and tasting this. But have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully this inspired you to make some mead of your own.